Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio again. It's a lovely day today and there's a pigeon sitting on the bird table looking as if he's eyeing up our newly planted cabbages. What can you do? Anyway, I'm going to paint some flowers today, just by way of a change. And I felt like doing something relaxing without any detail at all, but that might be quite striking. So working on the theme of pen and ink and wash and so on and so forth, but wanting to break free a little bit from the restrictions of the solid black line, I'm going to start off by choosing a range of colours. Then I'm going to put the colours on the paper, let them dry, without really worrying too much about the petals or the flowers that I'm painting. And then this is my practice page at the moment, and this is where I'm going to be headed in a minute. And then I'm going to use a dip pen, one of these Japanese or Chinese bamboo pens, which you can actually make for yourself if you've got a sharp knife, steady hand, and some bamboo in the garden shed, and perhaps a strong hand, I think, is probably quite essential. So not everybody would be able to do that, but you can buy them on Amazon. And then I'm going to use Pelikan. This is Sepia drawing ink. This is very old. I keep mentioning this, that I inherited a bunch of stuff from somebody who'd given up painting. Actually, several people. There was 3 people altogether. And so a lot of this is quite antique. There was my mother-in-law for one. Most of my books came from her. She used to paint in pastels. And a couple of other people, less important to me. Anyway, so this sepia drawing ink, waterproof drawing ink, is going to be what I'm using with this. And then the colours I'm going to splash around a bit. I've got 4 yellows here. Quinacridone Gold, which we know and love. Transparent yellow. Scheveningen yellow deep, which is like cadmium yellow, and lemon yellow here. Then I've got Potter's Pink, Indigo, no, sorry, could be Indigo, but this is Payne's Blue, Grey, Payne's Grey, but look how blue it is. This is a Scheveningen Old Holland Payne's Grey, and it's really blue. So anyway, you live and learn. And this is olive green. All the colours that you need for flowers. And I've got a piece of lightly textured but not very highly textured white watercolour paper here, which I've stretched. And I've been stretching all my paper just lately for the demonstrations, and I think it really helps. So, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a reasonably big brush. This one here I think will probably do, size 14 round. And what am I going to do? Am I going to wet some of the paper first? Or am I going to go in with a wet brush and do it that way? I think I am. And I'm going to try to make some kind of an arrangement here which is loose and interesting at the same time. So bearing in mind the rule of composition that you never put anything in the middle to start with. You start 1/3 of the way in, or 1/3 of the way in, and 1/3 of the way up or down. So if I wanted to put my main subject over here, that's where I would place it, somewhere around about here. So let's imagine that we're going to put a nice bright flower here, but we're not going to actually paint a flower. That's going to be the job of the ink. So I'm going to just splash in some yellow. Then I'm going to put some Quinacridone Gold into that. And then I'm going to add a bit of water. And drag it out a little bit. And then I'm going to let that dry I'm actually going to adjust that a little bit. This paper is not very absorbent, so I don't need much water, I have just discovered. So I'm just going to lift some of that up. And yes, it's very fine textured, so it doesn't take much water, but that doesn't matter because that's not meant to look like anything. And then I'm going to take a different colour yellow, and I'm going to put a blob of that over here. Perhaps I'm going to mix that with a bit of Quinacridone Gold as well. Then I'm going to try mixing Potter's Pink with yellow, which I haven't done before, and see what that does. So that gives us a kind of brownish colour. Maybe I'll put some pure pink next to it. Maybe put pink in there, perhaps. Maybe there. And then let's put some pink there. Quinacridone Gold. And then maybe we'll do some green. And the Payne's Grey looks quite nice on there. Maybe we'll use some of the Potter's Pink in with the stems. Let's drop a bit more pink in here. And now this is just starting to dry a little bit, we can perhaps add a bit more quinacridone there. Maybe here. Perhaps this is actually 2 flowers. So this, would you call this an abstract? Or what? What would we call that? Playing? Everyone needs to play from time to time. I'm going to lift that out there. Try and give some texture to that, I think. With the paper towel, good old Bounty, you can increase the amount of texture. So there we are. So I think that perhaps needs a bit more. It's starting to dry now. And a little bit more of the blue in the middle. Now if I start to draw now with the ink, some of it's going to run, but I'm not going to be terribly bothered about that. So let's see what we can do with this dip pen. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing at all. This is completely exploratory. For one thing, I don't know what's going to happen when I touch the paper, because the pen is unreliable and the ink is unreliable, but that doesn't matter because we're going to get some interesting random effects. I think I'm going to draw a butterfly up here. I was wondering about doing this with my left hand. But I decided against it in the end. It might be interesting though. Obviously this is something like an aster or some kind of big daisy. I think it's very useful for a person who is trying to learn to paint, even if you're trying to learn to paint accurately. Sometimes you can benefit from just playing with your materials. The thing to do is just to make it up as you go along. You can't predict. You shouldn't predict. If you're creating art, you are better off if you don't copy exactly what other people do. It's all right to have inspiration from other people, but once you've got inspired, then you should let go and follow your own path, shouldn't you? Isn't that right? Because everyone's different and everyone has their own artistic spirit, don't they? Okay, so I want to put some more Quinacridone Gold in there. Maybe a bit more lemon yellow around the other side. Ah, that's not dry, so that's running, but that's okay. Interesting. No harm in a bit of hairdryer when you need it. I'm just dotting in some... Oh, that was the stretched paper cracking free. Interesting a few things. Ooh, that's the paper breaking away from its sticky backing. Doesn't matter. We'll put some more dots in here. Okay, what did I do with my brush? Let's use this one. A bit more transparent yellow. And these flowers here. Maybe one up here, and I'm going to paint the butterfly. There's a lot of granulation in Potter's Pink. You can see all these little speckly bits coming out as it dries. It's quite a nice feature of it. I'm just going to dry this again with the hairdryer. We just emphasise the lines of the stems a little bit with the ink. I think that's a bit too dark there. Take that out. And I think for this one we need to put some more lines in. Perhaps we'll do something like that. And a few leaf abstractions. And maybe over here, I'm not sure if I've got room. I want to put I suppose here would do a bud. Or some kind of closed flower or seed head. Or whatever. There we are. You will either love it or hate it. I'm not sure even how I feel about it at the moment, but let's just add a few more pinknesses there, and maybe perhaps what we need as well is a bit of spatter, which is always useful, isn't it? And a bit more pink in this flower here. So I shall let that dry. So there we are. I'm going to call that done. That is my afternoon relaxation painting, just splashing a bit of paint around, seeing how it reacts, and generally enjoying trying to achieve absolutely nothing except a little bit of peace and quiet. So I will let you go now and have a lovely evening, and thank you very much for being here. Wouldn't mind a like and a subscribe and a comment. Would be very interested to hear what you think about this kind of technique. I think if you go to this extent of looseness, then when you pull back you feel a little bit more in control somehow. I think you have to let go in order to tighten up again. I think that's often the case in life, isn't it? So we'll see what you think about that. So I'll say bye-bye for now, and I'll see you again soon. So bye-bye everybody, bye-bye.